In an effort to encourage myself to read and appear as more of an intellectual than I already am, I am starting this series of talking about books that I've been reading. I have a New Year resolution goal of reading 5 books by the end of the year. I think looking back in my 23-year lifetime, I probably didn't read 10 books total end to end that I genuinely remember outside of the Harry Potter series. So in 2021, I'm really trying to get better at reading books that I'll actually remember, reading books that will actually benefit me. So today I am sharing 3 books that I read during Q1 of 2021. I can't believe I just referred to the first 3 months of 2021 as Q1, but bear with me as I talk about my thoughts on these books. The first book I actually don't have with me right now, but is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. It is a fictional book. It has been made into a movie. I actually have not watched the movie. I've heard mixed reviews. The book is phenomenal. I actually read the book in one sitting because I could not let it go. As I'm sure many of you guys are aware, this book follows this teenager named Wade Watts in the relative near future, and many, if not most, individuals on this world are logged into this virtual world called the Oasis, made by this trillionaire billionaire James Holiday. James Holiday dies, and in his will, he says, whoever finds these secret keys, these secret Easter eggs, and solves the game that I have created, the person to do that will win ownership of the entire Oasis, all of Mr. Holiday's assets, and basically become the god among men of this virtual world that is more like the reality of this present future. But essentially, it follows this guy, Wade Watts, through this adventure. He's solving these crazy cool puzzles in this virtual world. And the coolest part is that it almost seems like we're more nearer to this timeline of being so invested in virtual reality that we are slowly blurring the lines between real physical reality and virtual reality. I think mainly expedited through COVID. Kids are learning through Zoom and not even going to school physically. People are working at home remotely through this virtual sphere, through Zoom, through Slack, through Skype Teams if you're lame. There is also a wide variety of mature themes and adult references, not even in like a sexual way, but references only adults of a certain generation would understand because this James Holiday guy is obsessed with the retro era. That's one of the biggest premises of the book. So if you're into science fiction, if you just need a breather and you want to escape into a virtual world written in a book about another virtual world, encompassed by a physical world that's actually not real, then I think this is a great read. I personally could not let it go. I finished it in one sitting because it was such a good book. There is a number 2 out right now. My younger brother said the number 2 is not as great as number 1. Ready Player One, highly recommend. The second book I read in Q1 of 2021 is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. My friend lent me this book and said I would benefit a lot from it. The entire premise of this book, I guess kind of as a spoiler, is that our efforts, our work, our practicing of different skills and different ventures in our life, whether that be working out, starting a new business, waking up earlier and earlier every day, taking cold showers, is compounded and it takes an exponential effect as opposed to linear. So we often visualize our efforts and our work contributing to our results and consequences in a linear fashion where we continue to grow, But Darren's main point is that as we build, initially the growth might be very stagnant, it might be very slow, but as it stacks, a lot like the compound effect when it comes to interest rates and investing money, you're gonna see a steep slope incline as you hit that compound effect tipping point. No offense to Mr. Hardy, but I guess in very much offense to Mr. Hardy. One issue I have with this book is, as much as he is a business person and kind of a marketing guy, he is the publisher of the Success magazine, he constantly promotes his own stuff throughout the book, and it almost feels like there are ad breaks within the book, much like the ad breaks that you get on YouTube, where there's 15-second clips, 5-second clips, except there's no visual to it, and it really much is like, hey, by the way, if you think this is gonna help, come check out my website for this resource, or come check out this other book that I wrote on this topic. It's not that bothersome, but it's quite frequent, and it's kind of weird that it's in a book setting, and he's clearly trying to sell you other things. Some of the resources are free, but I was just kind of bothered by that idea. But it's a quick read and it really does motivate you to work hard. And especially if you're kind of in a stuck point on a certain skill or venture that you're pursuing, it helps motivate you and realize that there is going to be future returns and a steep incline in the future. And it gives plenty of examples of people that he's helped or people around him that have experienced this compound effect. Outside of the ad breaks within the book, highly recommend this one. And then lastly, but certainly not the least, and if anything, the best book I've read so far this year is this one. Hopefully I know how zoom/focus on this camera works. And I will make sure to link all these books below so you guys can go check them out. But this one is called 2030, How Today's Biggest Trends Will Collide and Reshape the Future of Everything. It's by a professor named Mauro F. Guilin with the accent on the E. My aunt actually recommended me this book, and it's exactly what it sounds like. This guy goes through different trends that he thinks will shape itself, already shaping themselves, will take place by 2030. And I won't give too many spoilers, but it talks about how women will own most of the wealth in 2030, how gray is the new black in the sense that older people are gonna sway the market and we should make products that are geared towards them. How Africa will become one of the most populous continents by 2030, if not the most. How climate change will affect this world. How we're sometimes so absorbed by modern technology like VR, like AR, and even cell phones that we lose sight of the fact that a lot of countries don't have proper sewage systems. Blue ocean market opportunity for us to aim for if we're trying to target non-hyper-focused, non-hyped parts of technology that are still advanceable, that we still should focus on because we're so caught up on the modern era. And just another whole array of modern trends that will hit by 2030 and beyond that we don't think about. I think my biggest take from this book wasn't necessarily that these trends will 100% become true, or this guy is a genius for thinking about these trends. There might be some trends that I disagree with, or I think are a bit of a stretch given his facts. I think the more important thing that I get out of this book is the fact that we should always be aware of what might happen in the future, and that the present is not always reflective of what may happen in the future, how quickly, how at an insane rate things are changing even within our limited lifetime. And conclusively, the realization that it is truly those that are able to see 10, 20 years ahead of time and see where things are going. Those are the people that truly become pioneers of this world. Not that I will become one of them. I would love to become one of them, but I think it's fascinating and really fun to just sit down and think about the trends that we see now. What does that say about the future? What does that say about the trends that will come? And if we were able to predict it, what businesses, what entrepreneurship ideas, what solutions can we provide now so that we can ride this wave and make a couple cents off of it? Reading is money. Reading is awesome. For $10 to $20 to $30, you can get for a 10 hours of enjoyment and feel smart about it. Post on your Instagram story that you're reading so that you look intellectual. Have people reply to it and you seem even more intellectual by explaining what you're doing with books. But all jokes aside, in the time that you could spend hours watching YouTube and dumb videos like this one, I would rather have you read books. Books are not necessarily about the knowledge that are in them, but the way that you think about the knowledge that's presented to you and the constant iteration of the thought that is provoked by immersing into the words on the page. I'm gonna hop off my liberal arts, philosophical, trying to sound smart stage for now, and as always, see you guys in the next video. Let's go!